Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Iron Crane Dojo. And we're continuing our little dialogue on cane essentials. And generally what we're looking at is the basic elements of cane that are often overlooked. If you get like a cane self-defense book, they go right into these pretty complicated flows of motion and sequences of self-defense techniques without looking at the very essentials, which are what make the cane so explosive. And we're going to take a look right now at probably the most prominent feature of a cane, which is the hook. In the old days, we used to call this the crook of the cane. I guess that's still a valid word, but it's getting a lot harder to find it in dictionaries. So you may hear me refer to this as the crook or as the hook. By crook or hook, you know what it is when you hear me say it. Okay, so just by way of quick kickoff on this section, I'm going to have Sensei Terry come out to assist. You've met Sensei Terry in the past, and I want you first of all to get an idea of just how effective the hook can be. Anytime you make contact with somebody, the hook is immediately available as an add-on or follow-on move. So you might be poking, you might be blocking, and you could be in the middle of a flow, and she comes forward. I'm in the middle of a flow, hitting, and the quick turnover puts the hook of the crane where it can work for me. Now the deal with this is that it's so effective and so powerful, it works almost any place that you put it. But I want to zero you in on a few key applications so that you understand where it can be applied most efficiently. First of all, you have the appendages of the body, or any part of the body that sticks out from another part of the body, which can be hooked. Okay, and the obvious is the head. And anytime you have the head, you can leverage it down into another strike. Okay, you can also leverage it into another direction. And you can go front or rear with this. So if I'm back here, I can walk to the rear and leverage her to the rear. You can see how I'm doing that. Sort of like a can opener here. Walk around so you get a 360-degree view of that. And as we're doing this, you can see that we're working, with a gentle flow and gentle application. These techniques don't have to be applied like you're doing mixed martial arts. These techniques can be mastered by perfecting the flow in careful practice, and then in a very short period of time, they become completely instinctive. But you can see the leverage here, okay? And that works both ways. I can come at her from the front, or I can sneak up from the rear, capture her, come about. I can lock onto the rear. In this case, I'm using her clothing to reinforce that. It's becoming a near choke. Okay, you can see the leverage there as I tighten it up, okay? You can hook the cane onto clothing, which is an application not many people do. But as I glance at her, imagining she's an attacker and that she's wearing the coat which folds over, right? As soon as she comes forward, you see I'm able to snag or snare her clothing. And as soon as you do that, you have great leverage on the person. And just like in every other situation, whenever you hook with the cane, you can disengage quickly and convert it into a hammer strike. Now I call this a hammer strike for obvious reasons, because this is much like the head of a hammer when you strike with it in this format. Okay? And you can go high or low. Now if you go low with it, you're right back to where you can hook another joint of the body, another appendage. So if she takes the same position, she's high, and I hit, I can go low and I can take the knee. Now I can drag the knee forward, breaking her balance, or I can angle, which is just as effective, even more so in some respects. Again, here, you can do it to quick disengage and go to an alternate spot on the body into another effective application. I think you get the idea. Thank you. What you have to do is with your partner in a gentle, controlled, compassionate fashion, is explore how these various flows begin to reveal themselves to you. See for Chris, if you come out, and you've all met. see from Chris in the past. What I want to do here is give Terry a break. Since we made contact, with some of the points on her body, we have to let those relax and recover so that there's no potential risk of injury. Okay, so as he's here, when you start to get the idea of how the cane works, I want you to notice like parts of the body that you would not normally think of as targets can easily become targets because of how the leverage works. So his arm's just relaxed, but if I hook the cane into an arm that's extended or even relaxed, and if I apply any impetus to it, I actually capture the arm. You see how that's captured? If I put downward pressure on it, I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on it, it takes the person down. Okay, now as I do that, I can just walk around. And you can see the leverage I've got on here. Okay? And I'm just corkscrewing him into the ground. And just go to your right shoulder if you will. I release it, and if he went to the ground, I'd have the follow-on hits. Okay, if he came with the leg, I'd hook the leg and control, release, and go for the head into a submission. Okay, so just to give you an idea how some of these things tie together, he throws a punch. See, I'm here. See, I'm capturing the energy of that arm, back and firing. Okay, as I fire, he goes back from the impetus, capture, yes! He's here, I rake around, roll forward to the camera, and disengage. He throws, so I can be here, I can capture impetus, break his balance. He throws, I can hit, in, fire, or take him down to the ground, or contact with a knee strike. And you see how quick and clean that is. In. Here, leverage, and back. Okay? What's cool about this is he might throw left, and I was thinking right when I said it, but that's fine. So he throws left, we go with that. In, reverse leveraging from the inside. I hit and leverage down. And you can see what an effective balance break that is. What I wanted to show though was this. He comes right, I'm here, hook, and reverse position. And the balance break here is really quite significant. I can just drop to one of my knees and bring him down, or I can do a quick reap and bring him down with that. Being careful, of course, not to snap his neck by accident. Okay? So there's a ton of techniques here that spin off of the hook of the cane. And I'm just going to put a couple more out there visually for you to contemplate, and then we'll move on with further ideas the next time you see us. He's here. What the hook is good for is the behind move. So he throws a technique in and here. All I do is just go to the behind, to the rear, and just drill him and bring him down. Walk around 360 degrees so you can see this. Note what I do for leverage with my hands. I double anchor on the cane. Okay, that's very forceful. And look how I'm using the hook in front. I'm using it on a pressure point this time instead of a full hooking technique. So you don't have to capture like this every time. You can capture just with the pressure point. And the application is so solid that the force of your motion and your jump will bring the person back. Cane works against kicks. Most of them, he throws a kick at me, down, just capture. Throws a kick, capture. Now, what I do here is I position my body weight so that I've got leverage on his knee. And that alone, allows me to control his balance. As you can see, he throws a punch at me. No power on the punch.
The light is not very good from this side.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay.
The camera will pick me up just fine.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you to see how that works. When I'm capturing the leg, he throws a kick, is I just relax the cane over the top. And I'm usually going for the knee joint. I like the knee joint because you can bend it and break the person's balance. The ankle is a lot more difficult to catch and a lot more difficult to hang on to. So you need to be aware of that. Another way of catching the leg, and not many people do it this way, he throws a kick, is I relax the cane underneath and capture from below. Now, the deal here is you have to break the person's balance, and we're going to do this real soft. We don't want any accidents. I sort of lift and dolphin over here. I lift him up and catapult him backwards, and here's what it looks like. I meet the kick, let the kick drop into the crook, and then I propel him up and over like a dolphin jumping over an obstacle. If I do it any other way, it won't work. He comes in, and if I try to lift him, I'm fighting the weight of his body. But when I dolphin, I'm attacking his balance and tilting his entire body with the movement so that it's all a balance break. Okay? So that's something for you to think about the way balance works with the cane and about how you're able to impact a person's balance by changing your geometry slightly. That comes out of Tai Chi Chuan. And one other aspect of using the hook of the cane is the trap technique. So he throws an attack with his right hand as an example. In, see the trap. And walk around, do a 360-degree view, if you will. Okay. Now, what's cool about the trap technique is he's trapped and I have his balance. So I can drive him to the ground. Now, we're back here. If he throws the left hand, it doesn't matter. See? It just augments the technique. So, stretching. Thanks. So there, you've got a lot of ideas. So, what I'm trying to do here is throw a lot a lot of techniques out there, so that you have a lot of good visual images of these things and how they can work. And file those away for their entertainment value, of course, but also for the potential thoughts which they generate in yourself as to how to make your movement more efficient. And while you're doing that, we'll be thinking of other things to share with you, maybe in the cane, maybe in some other internal arts areas, and we'll hope to see you further down the line, okay? Stay well and do well. Until then.